Chevron's Gorgon terminal, James, is one of the world's most expensive LNG ventures. It's kind of appearing at a bad time for energy prices.
That's right. Gorgon is a huge project. It's the largest project largest resources project in Australia's history, and more than 6 years after Chevron and its partners Shell and Exxon approved the investment and decided to go ahead with it. We are at a point where the project is actually approaching the finish line and is getting ready to ship the fuel to Asia. And the market looks dramatically different now than it did in 2009. At the end of that year, Brent oil was trading at about $78. Today, it's well under $30, and the Gorgon budget was $37 billion at the time, and now that's ballooned to about $54 billion. And the oil price is critical because that is what typically drives the revenue and the economics for these mega projects. So when oil prices tumble, that would eat into the returns of a project like Gorgon and negatively affect its economics. So Gorgon isn't alone. Chevron's not alone. Other companies like Origin and Santos here in Australia have started up LNG projects in recent months, they can't control the oil price, obviously, but it is rather unfortunate timing.
You could say that again. It's probably dragging down the price trend as well for LNG. What's the outlook then look like for LNG producers like Chevron?
Yeah, well, when you look at prices, Chevron, for instance, has long-term contracts that are tied to crude. So they've got more than 80% of their volumes from Gorgon and the Wheatstone project in Australia that are locked up with long-term contracts. So that's a positive for Chevron. When you look at spot prices, the spot LNG market, prices have declined by more than 2/3 since early 2014. We're seeing a market that's reeling amid increasing supply from Australia and now the U.S. and key markets in Asia, we're seeing weakening consumption as well. So there are a lot of headwinds in the market, and that spot price is important because it has the potential to influence long-term contracts. And if buyers in Asia look at the current spot prices of around $4 or $5, that may prompt them to at least attempt to renegotiate the long-term contracts they have. So that is an issue that could put pressure on suppliers like Chevron.
Yeah, no doubt. James, very quickly, how important is this project for Australia's economy?
Yeah, well, the implications go well beyond Chevron and the energy sector. For Australia, there's a lot at stake. We've had $200 billion of investment in LNG in Australia. Australia is going to become the world's largest exporter later this decade, if the forecasts are correct. And, if energy prices are lower, that is going to affect the revenues for the Australian government. And, and it would discourage future investment in the sector as well. So there are a lot of people sort of well beyond the energy sector keeping a close eye on what happens to the LNG market here in Australia.